I'll start saying, welcome to the first grid expansion team meeting, um, which we've just actually started this kind of idea of the Telegram group now. And today we have Neil Evans, who's based in the east of France, and Jeff Cozy, who's based in America. And Neil is a Kuji-In master who is currently giving training courses on the art of Kuji-In, which is absolutely fascinating. And Jeff Cozy is the musician behind all of the music in the grid, like everything you hear from the homepage countdown to the actual music in the background of the spoken word. It comes from Jeff. So it's really nice to be talking to you both today. So thank you.
Yeah, you too. Mhm.
So Jeff, before we decided to press record, you were telling us about your background in music and how you were working on the grid, and then we stopped.
Um, well, let me kind of start over about, we were talking about the flutes and how did I end up doing that? Because I grew up as a drummer, did session work in Los Angeles and places like that, and toured with bands back in the 70s and 80s and stuff. And then I opened a recording studio back here in the Midwest. And but during the last, I don't know, I moved into an old 1800s church building and renovated it for my studio. And it always smelled musty, but we didn't know how bad the mold was. And there was eight different kinds of mold. And so I was in there all the time. I got very sick and my lungs were having problems, but I was recording different guys who'd come through who were flute makers and stuff of these Native American flutes and stuff. And then one of the medicine men who came with them saw how bad my lungs were getting. And I teach vocal toning and stuff for helping the body. So the doctors had told me that I was fine, that my lungs were better than his, and he was 40 years old. And so my Native American friend gave me a flute and he said, I do not want you to learn how to play this like you would your guitar, your piano, or music theory stuff. I want the flute to play you. And so I began in 2000, I think, nine. Um, and I would just sit there and go into my heart and play, trying to get my breath work and keep my health together, have positive thinking and that sort of thing. And so that's what got me going on all the flute stuff. And so the different albums and stuff that I have available, a lot of it was very much live on the fly. So I did an album with Akhil Lanka from Mysore, India. He has the Temple of Singing Bowls over there, and he was here, and we did an album and some videos, but I didn't release the videos. But anyway, everything was live on the fly, like we were doing live concerts, and that's kind of how Soul Traveler, what you hear on there. I laid some key.
Which is basically the music on the homepage countdown. That's Soul Traveler, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, not the one on the meditation.
yeah, yeah.
So Soul Traveler was me doing my healing work, and I laid like these pads on my keyboard, sounds that would just kind of, almost lull me to sleep and get me to calm, and then I'd play a little flute over that, and it was more meditative and healing. And I got a lot of response from it from people, who were doing like massage therapists and some people who had yoga, teaching yoga classes and stuff for doing it, and a few healers. And so that's kind of one that stood out to you, Stephen, that you felt would kind of fit that part.
It did
And
fit
then,
very well. And also when you combined it with the beautiful starry background while the globe is gently spinning, it just works really well. It's like you're about to go on an adventure,
yeah,
is
yeah,
which is really fun. And also Jeff is going to be providing more music. And as we get into the product updates that are coming, like Jeff's music is going to feature much more in different new versions of the system to maybe help you sleep or help you just basically take 5 minutes to breathe, just like very, very simple things. But we are absolutely delighted and honored for you to have done it, so thank you. um
well,
from
let's
Yeah,
let's talk about the meditation.
yes.
Um, So when you talked to me about doing that,
Yeah.
um, I I was kind of sorting through all different kinds of stuff, and I have a huge, I mean, for all these years in my recording studio, we've done so many television ads and background things for real estate videos and meditation songs and or things, and so I had all these string orchestras, I had all this different flute music and stuff, and one of my friends accusing me of it all being like an AI thing. And I said, well, I did steal a couple parts, but no different than in a sound library if I use
Or when you're
MIDI.
using
You
Ableton
know,
Live or
yeah, well, as I played my keyboard lines and stuff, and then I took some of those parts and I cut and pasted them in underneath your voice to make everything fit,
yeah.
versus having to sit and spend 100 hours trying to start from beginning to finish. And so I made it.
You did a
In,
fantastic job actually,
yeah,
and then when I was actually recording it, I was recording without any sound, which was really fun to do. So, and then you sent it back within a few hours, and it was wonderful. So,
yeah. Well, fortunately, I had enough time to keep tweaking it. So then, and then there's the movements of getting it so it goes underneath your voice and doesn't take away when you're trying to speak, and then it comes up a little bit. So it's kind of like waves in the ocean, or
yeah.
when to make it so there's so consistency and coherency about how it was happening. And then it was really kind of a challenge when we got into changing all the languages,
Mm.
when I had to try to make the languages fit the music too.
Wow.
So there was a
Yeah,
little bit of a
crazy.
trick in that.
We had like 30 or 40 different translated versions of the voice into Japanese, Korean, Chinese, and every language. And then Jeff had to fit the music again. So look, great
Right.
job.
Yeah, so I was trying to figure out at times, okay, it was really hard on Arabic and a couple other ones of trying to get it to fit in the slots, because I had geared it to where um, Stephen's voice was in English, and then in another language sometimes it wouldn't, because the words are going to change a little bit, or the way things are being enunciated or pronounced, and so they don't fall the same way. So I was having to kind of work with that, and then I just would sit and I douse, is this going to work
Yeah.
on each one? Is like, is this okay? Is this going to pass? And I said, I guess I'll find out. So that's kind of how I got through the whole thing. So it was a challenge, but it was really educational for me. I love doing it. So it was neat. So
But for me, it's really interesting that as soon as you start walking the path that makes sense, everybody shows up on it and everybody works together, because the grid is built by all of us. There's like so many people behind the scenes. Like there's like Adrian who designed it. There's Caroline Burke who did all of the kind of initial launch kind of planning to actually to basically get it all done on time. There's all of the designers, there's all of the conversations we've had. I'd say there's maybe 100 people involved in the grid, which is
um,
just fun. Yeah, like it's just huge. But yeah, it's just a simple application that just has a countdown and then a broadcast. But now we're trying to get into the realm of how do we promote it? How do we get it out there? How do we expand it? Because it's not something that can be commercially launched because it's not a commercial application. There's no money, there's no advertising, there's no accounts, there's no nothing. So it has to be expand in a really creative way. And I just wonder, like, have you guys had any thoughts about that, or what do you think? And I am aware that this is just the first call, and I hope we're going to have many more and actually plot and actually chart, the entire journey now that we've signed off on the technology. But if you have any ideas or suggestions, it'd be great to hear them.
I have an idea of, aside from actually using the app itself, you had mentioned Instagram, or if you actually have it as the website.
Yeah.
What would be nice is that as all these different contributors and people come in, that there was a link to them and their websites, because it's also kind of networking with each other. So when we're on a Zoom call and we can, exchange some information through Telegram or through Zoom or some kind of things like that. But a way that, is like when other healers or musicians or things come in, or me wanting to learn more about the mood draws and how all that works, we'd have connections this way to say, I go, all right, well, he had some cool stuff to say. How do I get a hold of him?
Yeah,
So
so actually from this group, like this group that we're putting together now, like I think that's a great idea, because
Yeah, that's a cool idea.
yeah, because I know that people will definitely benefit from Neil's kind of training, and they'll definitely benefit from your music that you've created to help people feel better. So yeah, of course. So we'll list below this for all of the millions of people that will watch it. We'll put a list below of who's part of this call. Does that make sense?
yeah,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
and so when it's on a website, they got time, they can download it and stuff like that. Where on the phone, when you're listening, we don't want to sidetrack them from being in their heart center.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, we do have a contributor page where we, have a list of everybody who's involved, but we'll definitely add in, links to people, so you can actually go
Yeah.
and view and
That,
make contact.
yeah, with all the contributors so far, it's kind of um yeah, I see the people who signed, you changed that a little bit.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's
And
changed a lot, Jeff.
yeah, so it went from the main contributors to then the list of people who signed on right away.
No, no, no. The actual people in that list of contributors are actually people who actually helped shape it, who were actually part of the conversations, who were part of, basically everything, like over parts of the project. But no, the actual people who've installed it, we don't know who they are, so we have no information on actually who has it installed. So who's in the contributor page are the people who directly helped, the ones at the top are the ones who helped a lot and the ones down the end are special thank yous.
So
That's nice.
a few versions ago, there was Medrick and me and mentioned sound architecture, some things like that. I know all that's gone now.
Yeah, well, just to basically save space, like you'll see that all of the names have been moved down into the kind of main list of thank yous.
Ah,
But if you're not happy about how you're
no.
being kind of listed, then we can basically change it. It's just like it's just an idea.
Oh yeah. It wasn't I didn't see it as negative. I just thought, okay,
It's
that
constantly
was a,
going up and down. It's constantly expanding.
yeah, and it's going to be a lot to that might be something that you could put a link to
Yeah,
somewhere else
yeah,
to the website
yeah, yeah, okay.
to get all that information
Yeah, yeah, agreed.
because you're going to get to the point where there's going to be too many people to be able to keep listing and they could scroll on forever. So for a list of our
Let me
contributors and
get
stuff like
into
that,
a really big list. So let me just share, like this is the version of my desktop. So if I share this, you go to contributors and yeah, the list is getting big, you know. So what would you suggest? Actually, a link to each person's work. So
I think so. That would be really good. But then instead of just right there,
yeah.
could you put a link on uh, please come to the
Oh, yeah.
grid
To learn
website?
more about the contributors, go to thegrid.com/ or to on tua.com/. Yes, of course. Of course. Yeah.
And that way you can have lists of all kinds of people who are contributing, like everybody in that list could have, if they want to be in there, or
Yeah.
give more information, more musicians, more healers, more people coming in. We could be adding to somewhere that's not on your phone,
Yeah.
you know, or at least if you're going to be on your phone, you'll have a link to go to the website to do it versus having it all here is going to get to the point where kind of like there'll become too much information
Yeah.
and it'll get confusing. And then every time you add or have to upgrade the app, you're going to end up with this more upgrades to the app all the time. So it'd
Yeah.
be better just to have it.
Yeah. Just the website, Jim. That's a good idea.
Yeah, because you can go in and fix all that website stuff, bam, like that, where
Yeah,
trying to do
we
it
have to
on the
zoom it up,
grid,
Sean.
it's really,
And we do have changes to the contributor page that we have to wait for the next update to go. So yeah, it makes sense. And I think we could also keep it updated quite easily by making a few modifications to how it's built. So, but it's a good idea. Is there anything else, Jeff, that kind of jumps off the top of your head?
I don't think so. I mean, everything else would get too technical because when, you know, a lot of times when I'm looking at the grid and I'm looking where all the people are in their locations, I'm trying to zoom in and say, okay, where are they on this map, you know? And
Yeah.
it's like, I mean, if the technology was there and it was really easy, if you could tap on one of those dots and it'd say where it was, that would be really cool. But that's something down the road
No,
as
it's
things
not. It's
evolve.
actually something that we could do quite easily. Like we could give a lot more visibility where you could zoom right in over
I,
where the
I
person.
spend my life trying to zoom in.
Yeah, yeah, and so far, yeah, yeah, which actually we could improve that. So you think we should be able to zoom in more, like to how far in, like to the like over the country.
Just to say where it is,
Okay,
so where that person is. I
yeah,
mean, even if it was simply, is it New Zealand or where is it? It's definitely Java or somewhere out there in the middle of, the ocean,
Yeah,
or
like the
where.
country, not the actual place. It's not the town, but just the country. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Okay, okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
because like in the here in the States, you can see that somebody looked like down in Texas maybe, and someone was on the East Coast, maybe New York, and I'm up in
Mm.
Wisconsin in the Midwest. It doesn't really show on the map that sort of thing, but if it could be a little like those dots, if I touched the dot, it said New York, and I go, oh yeah, that's Harry, or or it's Heidi down in Texas, or you know.
Yeah, but see, the
Mm.
only thing is we don't collect actually very specific location information. We
No,
collect
no.
course, or I think it's called.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I understand.
And
Okay.
but
Yeah,
we would
yeah,
say
that makes
that you
sense.
are in Minneapolis, like, or you are in Queensland, but that's about as far as we could go, which is fine, But I think to actually be able to zoom in over the state, over the city, is probably even more
Too
fun.
much.
No, you think
Yeah.
it's too much?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I don't expect to know the persons, especially when lots of people come in. But
Mm.
when you can see like there's a cluster happening in Chicago or somewhere, it'd be wow, look at there's a whole bunch of people in Chicago. So I guess on my point, call me nosy cozy. It's like just kind of I like to know some of those kind of things of where they are.
Across the
They're
street
in
are doing it again. They're
well, because then I'm talking to people and referring them to come to the grid and are they actually doing it? And if I see them come up, then I go, wow, all right, it's happening. They're coming in, you
What
know,
we are going to do though is if you are using the grid in a group and you select the amount of people in the group, you'll see the actual dot will grow in size. And we're also about to introduce color as well to actually make it a little bit more beautiful to look at, but while also maintaining the black and white kind of feeling to it. Just a very kind of a very faint coloring into the aura around the earth, which will change based on when people use it and how many times they use it. And as it starts to grow in popularity, the aura will get more powerful. So that's going to be a really beautiful addition as well. But
Wow.
what we can do is zoom in over, let's say, Chicago, so you'll basically have a bit more visibility. So we will definitely do that.
And this is just an idea.
Yeah.
How cool would it be if, and I was going to ask you about the group, because I heard you say it earlier in that video.
Yeah.
Instead of it growing bigger, could you not have that many dots?
Yeah, yeah, you could actually, and
You
we
know?
will, yeah, and we will explore that. So when you look at the map, you have one person in France, but they're actually representing five people in the room. So
Yeah.
if they select we are five people, either the dot gets bigger or it shows five dots. Is that your
I
question?
just think, yeah, because it looked like imagine that. I know there's 50 people in New York all doing it at the same time, and
Yeah,
all of a sudden you've got 50 dots. It's like wow,
yeah,
because then when you've got the counter as well, it's there's gonna be 50 people, isn't there?
yeah.
That'd be so
Oh,
cool.
yeah, okay. We'll check.
So this is kind of maybe way out there for you, maybe not.
Hmm.
That if you made the app available to be on the web and not just on your phone, you could actually put this in large screens in groups.
Yeah,
So, like
correct.
at someone who's in a detox center or a nursing home,
Yeah,
you could bring this in every day and have this great big screen TV doing the grid for all these people. And we got
mm,
30 people in a nursing home who are listening to it, going into their heart and listening to that music and listening to get them down into coherence, where normally, or in the jails and prisons. So,
Mhm.
this would calm people and do something so much deeper and take it to such a deeper level. Like we're looking for all the meditators and all that kind of stuff, but the people who need it the most, the people in the jail, the people in the prisons, the people in the
they're only
hospitals, the people
just
in the nursing
outside
homes, and they're
themselves.
not all going to walk around with their phone.
That's true.
Ah, they're
And
not
yeah,
allowed them.
yeah, they won't be allowed. But no, Jeff, we did originally actually have it built as a web app, and the idea of Android and iOS was going to pull the web app in, which actually made it a lot easier for us to develop it because we can use Java a lot easier, and it's just like a player, like the app becomes a player. But Apple and Google don't like that because, they don't allow apps in the store that are just a player that's going to take remote content because it could be anything. So they were quite strict on that. So that's why we decided to build our own into the app. But then because we have so many more features now, we have the heart amplification center, we have lots of other things on the way. We are much more than what we originally thought we were going to be. So we could revert back to that of actually having a remote globe that just gets pulled in to both Android and iOS, but can be displayed on the side of a building as well because it's web based. That's a
Okay,
great idea.
that'd be quite cool. Yeah, yeah,
That was my kind of vision because years ago I did, I don't know, probably 16 nature albums, and we were trying to get them into the prisons and the nursing homes and stuff like that to calm people.
Yeah.
And I didn't end up getting myself into it as well, but Audubon got in there, and they were putting up eagles' nests so they could switch channels, and they'd say these eagles in the middle of winter, different things, taking care of their babies, laying their eggs, and all that kind of stuff. So there was some beautiful things that came out of all that. And it was all ideas, just like we're doing right now. You hash up these ideas and you can help people, and they're always looking for something. And especially, in the jails and the hospitals, everybody is stressed out to the max.
Yeah.
And what are they listening to? Hard, heavy rap, screaming, yelling,
Yeah.
angry stuff a lot of times in the jails.
Imagine
And
them playing them your music, Jeff.
yeah, if you could get them to just calm them down for 15 minutes, might shift their whole being into a whole different state of what they're doing there to make them wake up and become more aware of who they are as soul and that sort of thing.
Mm. Yeah,
So,
from a technical perspective, we could definitely do that. And it would
that's
actually
cool.
make life easier as well. And we could be much more creative with the globe because right now we are a little bit confined to the operating system of Android and iOS. But on the web, we could do so much more, so
so we're planting seeds. We're just getting started, and it's been wonderful so far. And I
yeah.
mean, it's like only up from here.
Exactly, yeah. To actually reach the 2,000 users today was huge kind of like proof of concept that what we've all built together and what
Mhm.
we're all going to grow together is definitely going to continue to grow, and to have this team around it. And we have many other people in the group who just haven't been available to join the Zoom call. But I guess my last question would be like if there was anything you could think of to actually click your fingers and go, this is what you need to do to spread the grid, what would it be?
That's really difficult. I mean,
Think about it.
unfortunately it's social media, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And to be
Yeah.
honest with you, I know nothing about Instagram. I am probably posting stuff the wrong way, or I'm doing a reel when I should be doing a story, and like
I,
so.
I noticed they have to be short. You
yeah,
don't have
yeah.
you don't get
Just
much
takes
time.
a long
So
one. I
the,
just did 6 minutes.
the yeah, so the grid ain't going to work. You can't just play the grid there.
Yeah.
My other question was because I've had three different people ask me, is there a way that they could change their time zone to when the broadcast happens? It's like I know we're trying to make everybody globally at the same time based on the European time. Like uh, two of my kids who live out west, it's right in the middle of their business day, and they're at work and they can't do it, and then it's in the middle of the night. And for me, I've missed it several days in a row because
Yeah,
I've been
because
it's
you're
late
yeah,
late in the afternoon,
yeah,
so it's not 11 o'clock in the morning. I could probably peel together pretty easy. 4 o'clock in the afternoon for me in my time zone is I'm usually in the midst of stuff, or I'm out in my garden working, or I'm out traveling and coming back, and I'm going, that part of the day is kind of wild.
mhm,
And so, but I try to hit it, and even a lot of times when I'm on the car, because I have my phone with me, but if I'm out working in the garden, I don't, so I'll hit it and I'll listen to it while I'm driving and stuff.
yeah.
So I'm okay with that. It's hard to close my eyes and get deep with it, but at least it's happening, so, and I meditate every day anyway, so
Yeah, and you are making a great point, and we are coming back around to it because when we first went live, the idea was to create a wave of energy around the earth, time zone by time zone. So it's 11:11, whether you're in Canada or in Bangladesh, your 11:11 is your time zone. And then the visualization was when that time zone is going live, you see all the dots on the side of the globe for that time zone. And then the next one goes live and you see a wave of energy going around. But the only problem with that was like we'd have basically one person in a time zone, we'd have none in the next one. And it was just basically decided to go to one global pulse every day, but we would always come back to the time zone. So, do you guys think we should just have it regional, like time
I,
zones?
I don't think we have to do that yet, but as an example, I studied Shillel Qigong with these Chinese Qigong masters,
Mhm.
and Shillel they did every Tuesday evening, and they said you do it in your time zone. And so when you're practicing your qigong, it's probably 20 minutes to a half hour. That we're all in my time zone, adding to what that grid is. So the grid they looked at it was a continuation of the movement versus just a movement. So
Yeah,
instead of just happening once at a particular time or twice in a 24-hour period, it would be gradually the movement, just like in qigong, we call it a chi ball. It's like we make a ball of energy, and this is like the earth, and we're doing this, and as we're rotating all that, and that's energizing our hands and movement, and bringing more energy into us, and as we do that as an earth and rotate that, we're doing the same thing, so everybody is doing their light up to the grid by their time zone. See what I mean? Does that make sense?
yeah, yeah,
So, but right now, if there's nobody in those time zones, it would be blank anyway.
yeah,
But right now it's all blank except for,
yeah,
but as
uh,
as
yeah,
as as we grow, I think there could be an expansion to allow that energy to then um, you know, let it grow. It'll evolve into some really beautiful things.
yeah. I agree. Neil, what do you think?
It's a difficult one, isn't it? I mean, for where we are, I think it's going to be difficult for some people because, as I say, it's in the middle of the night or something like that. So yeah, I like the idea of the chi ball. I mean, I've built chi balls before, and the bit flowing around the globe is a good idea. And I think what we'll find is that the more people there are, the more little dots there will be in those zones. That at the minute there isn't, but the more that we advertise it, the more we'll have. You
Yeah.
know?
And it's a great way to actually go and approach the local communities as well. Actually, it's a good kind of outreach. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, but then going back to social media thing, I mean, it depends how you do it. It's got to be videos, and they've got to be like teaser videos that really want to entice people, not just meditators, but everybody. And so it's got to be, uh,
Short and snappy and mystical.
yeah,
Well,
yeah,
and when we do those, there's that option then again, if we take those and uh, put them in the multiple languages again, so we're not just doing it in French or English and that's it. So we're going to have to try to figure out a way to do that where if it ends up on TikTok or on Instagram
Mm,
to build it in that kind of a way to stay toward the format that we started. So it's
yeah,
going to be a lot of extra work to do it that way, and we surely could test it right now for the English market and do short little clips,
yeah.
and and some of it could be just a graphic, explaining the grid. Keep it
That's
simple.
one thing we haven't done yet is we haven't really explained it. We haven't explained this. We haven't explained the breathing. We haven't explained like why you're doing these things. It's
I'm
not.
still I'm still working on the breathing thing. I'm getting
Yeah,
I'm getting the count down because in shamanism for when they do the single drums, Native American healers,
yeah.
they're keeping the pulse, and that's what I do with my toning groups. We keep a pulse
They're keeping
happening.
their own pulse, sir.
Yeah, yeah. And so it would be as you're breathing in the five counts, so there'd be one, two, three, four, five, and a different sound for hold
Mm,
two, and then go back to the next. So I'm looking to do that. Then I'll build like a pad or some energy or even maybe some nature stuff that can wave under that to drop your voice on top of that. So that way everybody is creates synchronicity with my drum circles. I've been doing drum circles for 26 years. And I've done it for huge rock festivals, but I've done it really locally for communities,
yeah,
the hospital.
you
You
are
know,
very, very famous where you live for them. You know.
so when we do the drum circles, I have a big powwow drum in the middle, and we create a vortex. I have them just keep a beat in the middle, and that's the pulse that everybody plays to. And there might be 40 people who come, right? And so this isn't like the rock star Stony version. This is like community, so little kids and grandparents and everybody taking part. And within 20 minutes, everybody's like smiling and laughing, and we just did the simple little thing that everybody got to just make up their parts and
Yeah,
play just this simple thing, but it brought synchronicity into the whole
yeah,
foundation of the group, and that brings people together, and at the end, I mean, people hug each other and they don't even know each other. They had so much
um,
fun and they're all going, wow, when are we going to do this again? It's like, it's unbelievable. And I think that's something to try for our future track is to have something with the pulse in there. Because
yeah.
right now we're drifting in a flow with the violins and the bansuri flute and stuff.
Mm,
And I think that, I want to try something that brings that pulse in so
mm,
they can breathe without having to look, they can feel what the breath is.
yeah,
that's a good idea.
yeah. It's
Yeah,
a good
I
idea.
like that.
Good idea.
Yeah.
Great ideas.
But even like the Instagrams, I think if we could put some type of music in the background
Yeah.
because even if it's like, I mean, the problem is that people's attention spans are so small now. I used to say a
Yeah,
minute,
quick
and then I used to say 30 seconds, but unfortunately, it's not even 30 seconds now.
flicker.
I
Yeah,
It's stopping them from going and
yeah.
wanting to stay and look. So it needs to be something that attract that you know that you, oh, I just want to see the end of this, see what it is. But and it's just like boom, and then there's a link at the bottom to the grid, and they can click on it.
Well, in fact, actually, one of the early supporters, a guy in America, David Cohen, he can't be here today, but I think that's a lot of the stuff he does. He has always said to me, once it goes live and it's ready, you watch what I can do. You know, so yeah, so maybe this is David's conversation, you know.
Yeah.
We are surrounded by so
It
much.
just needs to go viral, and
Yeah,
then once it goes viral, and then that's it. I mean, it's okay posting it on like the old forums and things somewhere, but sometimes it depends. I don't think, you know, I mentioned it to a few people that I know, and they've gone, "Oh yeah, I know all about that," and
yeah,
they've not even looked at the app.
yeah.
You know, so there's some people that are just going to the think, like we were saying today, actually. There's people that think they know better. Yeah, already. It's like, oh yeah, I'm not doing that. I've already done that, without realizing what the grid actually is. It's not learning about a meditation. It's creating a grid. It's creating the energy of
That's what it is.
the
Yeah, it's
yeah.
actually creating
It's,
that, and it's not preaching. It's not anything other
no,
than mechanical
exactly.
process to go into your heart. Do you know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like
and
so.
that's why we've sent it to people, and they've gone, oh yeah, this is amazing. It doesn't take long, and I can feel it, and I can feel it. And the fact that they can feel it, there's other people there as well, and it's like, yeah, it's great. And these aren't meditators. These are just, you know, friends that we've sent it to, and they've gone like, oh my god, this is incredible. And that's the type of people we want to get into it as well. You know,
Yeah,
they're like sat at the desk or whatever, and they go, oh, I'm stuff
yeah.
10 minutes.
Yeah, the people want to nitpick or say they already did it. It's like they're not our crowd. They're
No,
if they don't get it, they
We
don't
have
get
to
it. You're not gonna.
yeah, we can't be everything to everybody. You know.
no.
No,
It's a shame because the they're not listening. It's like you already know it, so you're not listening anymore, type of thing. Which again is something I taught the other day. So, and you'll find that out. But you know, we're always learning, and you always got to listen. And if you don't, it's just a shame because you miss stuff. You know.
Well, hopefully we can continue to keep it simple so that people will be able to use it. Is
It's
there
super easy.
is there anything else you guys could add, or like, because I don't want to take up too much time. Like, if like I've got some really great points from this.
Yeah, no, it's great.
We're
Yeah,
going
I'll keep thinking.
on our YouTube channel. Um, just for the record, because I think it's actually really important just to show all of the voices around the grid and all the people behind it, to actually show that there's so much human kind of love behind it. So I think, as the Zoom calls grow, which they will grow, I think it'd be good to even have it for the record. So if you guys don't mind, I'm going to put this on
No,
you.
for sure. Go for it. Yeah.
and not just doing it as a video. That why don't you do kind of like what we did on
Oh,
our
the open clips,
bio thing?
yeah, where we can snip. Yeah, yeah.
Well, no, not just snippets, but why don't you give an outline? Here's
Oh,
what
yeah,
we
of
kind
course.
of
Yeah, yeah,
covered
yeah.
in the,
Yeah, of course.
here's what we covered in the
Yeah,
meeting.
yeah,
So here's some bullet points about what's happening. If you want to watch the video, here's the link.
yeah,
But this
exactly.
way, we give you the highlights of what was important or what you thought was important, and give a summary of what happened for those who don't have a half hour to sit down and watch us because they only have 5 seconds to
Yeah.
before they change the
Attention span.
channel.
Before they switch
I
off.
don't want to
Yeah,
listen.
of course, Jeff.
I can't even listen to myself that long.
Jeff,
So just
now that we've got through the technical phase and it's now ready to go, it's really stable. We invite anybody who wants to take a look under the hood to actually confirm, it is very stable. Like, if anybody wants to help us with testing or with design or software development, we'd be delighted to talk. But we're now ready to expand it. So it's actually really exciting, and I'm so excited to see what it's going to be in a month from now or 6 months from now, so, and I will treat this as a business call, as a business, even though it's not a business, and we will have follow-up on all of the great points you made today. So thank you, gentlemen.
No problem.
yeah.
My pleasure.
Have a nice evening. Good luck.
Yeah. Very nice to meet you, Jeffrey.
Yeah.
Yep, nice meeting you.
Yeah.
See you
Take care.
again soon.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
See you soon.